everyone, this is GT Time. I'm your moderator, Kyle Bossman, and joining us as always is our uniquely talented and knowledgeable panel, including Brandon Jones.
Hello.
Daniel Bloodworth.
You find that very funny.
And Michael Damiani.
Hey, what's up, Kyle?
It's because I'm like a little under the weather and I'm like in less control of my voice than normal. And so it just kind of blurts and sums and restrains itself.
Even less when you really think about it.
Yeah.
When you actually concentrate on speaking, it just totally becomes impossible.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. How you all doing?
Good.
Brandon, your battery died this morning.
Yeah, but I got a new one, so.
Bloodworth, you're wearing an edgy shirt.
Yeah, sure.
What is your shirt from? What is
edgy?
this?
So here's the bad thing. This
Okay.
is terrible. I bought this at an art showing because I really liked it, and then I can't remember the details anymore.
So
Because the shirt doesn't come with a tag with the artist's name and everything on it.
to describe to listeners, he's wearing a shirt with like a guy with a creepy smiley face. He's in a suit holding a gun, and some crows fly above him.
It's like Payday.
Yeah.
It's a Payday 2 shirt.
It's like a Payday
I'm pretty sure
t-shirt.
this is way before Payday 2. This is a long time ago.
And it's an art shirt.
Yeah, it was
So-
at a gallery, so he had, his paintings, and he had prints, and then he had T-shirts with.
But how
prints.
often do you go to art shows?
We're getting sued.
Not as much as I should lately,
Cool.
but yeah.
And then Michael Damiani is, of course, wearing his Defy Media hoodie. No, you guys, your Twitch hoodie on today.
Nice try.
How'd you get a Twitch hoodie?
I got this because they sold it online on their site.
Oh, okay, cool.
You can buy Twitch hoodies and Twitch t-shirts.
I assume every time I see a Twitch hoodie, just like, oh, that person must be special. They probably sent it to him. I thought that in that case.
Oh,
Twitch
I had
just
to pay
loves
money for it.
Damiani.
They want you to feel special because you gave them money.
Okay.
Don has a GTA 5 leather
Yeah.
jacket that he found in a closet.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
it was like his high school jacket. Like, why is he wearing his
It
high
is like
school
that.
jacket to
It's like what the
work?
jocks wear, yeah, because it's all like
Yeah.
leather, and it's just super nice.
If you break 50 Final Fantasy 14 streams on Twitch, you get a free sweater. Miss anyone.
There you go, Kyle.
Were you streaming last night? I just popped
Yeah.
into the
Yeah.
oh man, Damiani's never not streaming that game. All right, let's get to the news. Oh no, first we got to deal with corrections and clarifications. We have
Always.
one this week, so begin the music. Daniel Bloodworth, what is your Twitter handle?
At D Bloodworth 2.
At DBloodworth2.
Wait, what?
It was listed as something from Ian Hink, at Ian Hink, I assume.
Okay.
That is not his Twitter handle. End corrections music.
Clearly intentional. I mean, come on. He'll do whatever he can.
We do what we can. We copy and paste when we can. If it's there, we'll do it. And so that's it. That's it for corrections. I think we did
Not
okay
bad.
last week.
Yeah.
Well, we were just kind of like talking
Actually,
about.
I think most of the problems you find on GT, well, not most of the problems, but most of the small mistakes you find on GT are copy and paste mistakes.
Oh, you mean like a games listing,
That kind of thing, yeah.
like when Mordor is called Tetris or something.
Yeah, exactly. There
That's
you go.
that is what is happening. So news this week. I guess you could call it a slow news week. I would call it a baby news week. There's not a lot of big, huge stories.
Aw.
So what I want to do this week, little adorable, cute little stories, is use them as basically jumping off points for larger discussions.
Hopefully.
Yeah, we'll see. It could be like a 12-minute episode. Let's see what we got. Firstly, there was a Reddit Ask Me Anything with someone who claimed to be a Bungie employee. And this person suggested that a lot of the problems that we have with Destiny were just things that were removed 1 year ago. Pretty crazy. We can't accept this as truth, and Ask Me Anything could have just been some person full of baloney. However, the things that this person said make sense, basically. It seems like, that would explain a lot. Primarily, a few things. Each race actually did have a different starting point. He or she said that we only used the EXO one, the robot starting point, and that everybody came from the one spot that the robots were supposed to start from, like race-wise.
Why would that be the robot starting point? Because he says you died. He's like, you died. This will look weird to you. It's like, but you're a robot. Were you driving a car?
So they combined them. They combined them all into one, so it would be all-encompassing.
But I think that was the human one.
No, it was EXO. That was supposed to be the robot
Then
starting point.
how did the robot die? Nobody seems to answer this. Every time I bring this up to somebody in the office, it just washes over their face. They're like, yeah, whatever. And I'm like, Dinklage says to you, you died. So this place you're going to see some stuff that doesn't make sense to you.
Yeah.
I think a robot looking at the future, that would seem fine. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing is,
that seems like an error.
They had to
seems
make-
like in Perfect Dark when you were playing the one level as the guy and they kept all the female things. They were like, go get her. And you're like, but I'm a guy. It seems like that. Where it was like, whoops, something wrong happened.
Did they, I don't know if you guys, I didn't play through the full game yet. I don't know if you guys dug into the lore or anything. Did they ever explain what an Awakened is? Do we know that? Do we know what?
Yeah. So the big, the Traveler, the big globe,
Okay.
it shot out little ghosts out of it, and the
Right.
ghost is Dinklage. He's
Yeah.
a ghost, and so it kind of spewed those out across the planet, trying to wake up Awakened, and then these Awakened are supposed to save everyone from the darkness.
But the Awakened is only one of the races.
The Awoken.
Oh, the Awoken, the blue
Awoken,
people.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, so this is the thing. In the original version that existed a year ago, purportedly, if you were Awoken, you would have a unique starting to the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that makes sense. That makes sense that
But
was a
only
part of
the
the original
Awoken
plan,
get that
right?
storyline of getting like that, where and the human be like just like a normal human. That
You
was,
died. Well, you died. A human who died.
So even if you were human, you were awoken. This is confusing.
I think
Yeah.
you're having two different conversations.
We are.
Is Awoken the official terminology for people being brought back to be guardians, or are they just called guardians?
They're called guardians.
Because there is a race called Awoken.
Yeah.
which I guess
Yeah,
just seems
You fixed
convenient.
it.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying
But
to
they were
understand.
called
is what-
Awoken-
What is an awoken?
I don't know.
I think-
they
I
hang
think
out
that-
in the reef and they get cool haircuts and they get angry.
Yeah, but I think they're like less like I woke up from a long nap, and more like we know what's going on in the universe, like the Protoss. Like we know what's happening here.
Oh,
like,
they're awoken.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
understand. They see
I
it all.
think that's what that means.
Yeah. Anyway, your race means
quote me
nothing
on
in
that.
Destiny. Okay. But other thing. Oh, the factions. The different like your class.
Mm-hmm.
Those factions actually had different stories. And so we bring up like the voice actors they chose. Who's the one for your class that you really like? Nathan Fillion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I like Nathan Fillion. He doesn't really do anything in the game. But
Exactly. Supposedly, he recorded a lot of voiceover. He recorded a lot of dialogue that was just ripped a year ago to say, let's make this a simpler story. Anyway, we can't assume all those things are true. My question, though, to this panel is, if that is true, do you think it was a good decision to take those things out to get the game out in time, to simplify the game, to make this game what it is today?
It's hard to know if it was when you don't know what the cost was. It's like, well, we can do this or this,
Right.
You know, and it's like, what did we get by cutting that out? Like, it would be the big question. Like, obviously, the thing that makes it actually kind of ring true for me, although it's really tough to believe stuff like this, is the fact that it's not like super scandalous. It's not something that's like really scathing against Bungie or something that I don't know. If somebody was going to Reddit, you know, to try to get attention, like, and it wasn't an actual employee, I think they would say something that would be a lot spicier, you know, than like, oh, they cut these little things out that are story related. That, like you were saying, like does make sense. It does feel like that.
Right.
It feels like they made one, starting thing, and then we're like, oh, we don't need to make those other ones. And they got him in there, and they realized like, oh, we're just gonna get a bunch of Halo fans, and all they're gonna want to do is run around and shoot people. They don't want to have Nathan Fillion talk to him for half an hour.
But they do. They
You
want
know,
to
so, but it's one of Destiny's biggest issues is definition, and that may be something that Bungie didn't do, which is really like define exactly what it was. They were kind of like, just wait, you know, and then we got in and like there wasn't a lot, but they were like, no, you're still waiting, and it's like, okay, you need to be a little clear about like what's happening here. So
Yeah.
if you made a game that didn't need that, then that's fine. But if you make a game where you do have 3 classes, you do have these factions, and you do have all this interesting stuff happening, but you don't explain any of it unless you like take an hour and a half out of your day and just stare at your monitor, you know, like.
Yeah.
So something doesn't fit. Something feels like it was cut. Something feels like it was sacrificed.
Yeah.
For what though? I think is the ultimate question.
And
Well,
so,
I think for what is to get it out this year. Yeah.
right, I guess that's my
To
question.
get it out on last gen consoles.
Do you think it would have performed differently if it existed as it was envisioned a year ago?
Yeah, that's the hard thing, right? Like they probably still would have sold in the same ballpark.
That's how I feel, right?
Right, like it may not, now, like, say a few weeks later or whatever, it may not have the same kind of momentum if it had all of that stuff in there and it had been good stuff. We don't know that it was good stuff. We just assume that it was better. But, so that may be, but, as we all know, like most of the sales come in that first day, that first week from all the pre-order now from when they just showed concept art.
Damiani, what do you think about sales of Destiny, and like if this actually affected how it did?
I mean, I don't really think it did affect sales, honestly. I mean, I don't know how much better people expected it to sell on day one when it did come out.
I don't think many people expected to do better than it did. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
like
But-
I just don't know how much more. Like, I don't think it would have if it came out sooner. Maybe, I think initially when it came out, like this the announcement of the game, there was a lot of buzz around it. But I think we previously, or at least I previously said at one point that I felt like as time went on with that game, like it kind of lost some of the buzz until right before release. All of a sudden, they managed to like get their mojo back, and everyone was suddenly excited about Destiny again, and leading up to the release. So they got it right at the end. So I don't know. Maybe if it came out earlier, maybe it would have been in the wake of all that. People were still kind of down on Destiny. Maybe they wouldn't have had the timing right. So I can only imagine maybe it would have negatively impacted sales if it didn't come out that time, because I don't know how they could have done better.
Yeah, what if it came out in February? What if it came out
I just don't know how much better anyone would have expected it to do. I think any disappointment might be in like it's how long it's gonna last, like how many player retention, how the longevity of the game.
Yeah, what's weird is like I guess that's a
how
whole
much
part
of this
it.
is supposedly getting added back in some form or another if they have a 10-year plan.
If we can believe this Redditor, a lot of it will be try to be salvaged for DLC, but some decisions were like to change the story completely, and entire cutscenes are useless now, basically, because of the way the story changed to accommodate simplifying Destiny. But here's the thing I kind of want to talk about is like T-shirts and tattoos. People have Gears of
What?
War tattoos.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure people will get Destiny tattoos.
What people have Gears of War tattoos?
What people?
They're people.
The normal human beings. They're just, I love this franchise. I love what it...
Okay. I don't know. I think I think that was from a different time though, like a generation ago.
You think nobody gets video game tattoos
I think they do,
anymore?
but I don't think they're like as trendy anymore for some reason. Like I don't see as many people like actively talking about I want to get gaming tattoos. Like go
bragging
back
about
a
their
few years ago,
Triforce?
like sites like Kotaku and stuff were always posting like cool gamer tattoos.
You're
and stuff.
right, yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
That's like declined. It's like an out. I think I'm not
I
trying
don't
to
know
say
that it's declined as much as people have stopped
Yeah.
looking at photos of them, but
I don't
Our
know.
interest has declined.
I think that's what I'm trying to say. So I don't know. I think because people perceive that there's less interest, then people are less inclined to just do it on like a whim. Like that's a cool thing to do. Like you really want a
All right.
tattoo.
So
And
I'm
you
not
can
talking
do-
about tattoos specifically. I'm talking about becoming endeared to a franchise and how important that is to a franchise going forward.
And you're talking about the Destiny specifically?
Right.
Oh,
And I kind of feel like if the game had those things, if it stuck with the vision from a year ago, people would be more inclined to buy the T-shirts and get the tattoos. How do you feel about that?
yeah, I don't know about that. I don't think that would have made a difference one way or another, honestly. I mean, maybe if the lore was, I'm going to say like, if the lore was better than what it is now, like I have no idea what it is, maybe people would be more invested in it. But from an outsider's perspective, someone who's not touched Destiny,
Right.
who has been like observing this is like how I felt like the timeline has been of like Destiny so far from release. Super like excitement for the first few days, then people stopped, like it started to hit like a decline, like people stopped talking about it as much. Then it was all of a sudden the loot cave, and then and it was the dungeon that no one could beat. I was like, oh cool, like the dungeon no one could beat, so that's like really exciting and stuff. Like this is really hard. Someone finally beats it. Then 1 million people beat it.
So the
then
dungeon
it's-
is the raid, right? That's
yeah,
what
the
you mean by
raid. The
dungeon?
raid was
Got it.
like a big thing for like a week, and then it died off. As soon as someone beat it, and then everyone beat it, it was like, all right, cool. And then there was the loot cave, and then it got nerfed, and then someone found another one, and now like I don't see anyone talking about it.
There's a new loot cave?
Apparently, there was a second one found.
Okay.
So it feels like there's
You know
like
more
these-
about Destiny than I do
it
right
feels
now.
like there are these like spikes in popularity. Like it kind of like dwindles down really quickly after something, and those spikes are getting smaller and not lasting as long. And another thing from my perspective was like Destiny came out that week. A bunch of people left 14 to go play it. In the week, they were like all back and like, all right, we're done with like Destiny. Like only like 2 people are like still playing it that I know of, and
Came
they're
back
like,
to 14
and I
with
was
their
like,
tails
I don't-
between their legs.
the broad statement I'm trying to make here is that like Bungie's previous effort, Halo, I don't think Destiny has any chance of being Halo.
Yeah, because
in
Halo had a
popularity.
story, and people
That
are
it's
getting
not-
Halo tattoos.
It's not going to be that.
Because people are buying Halo T-shirts because they love that world.
No matter how much world building they're doing with this game, I just feel like it's never going to be Halo.
Why?
I think Halo just had like something about it when it came out that it was exciting. It had the same kind of buzz, but afterwards, everyone was playing it. Everyone was talking about it, and it kept it was like forever. Like for years, people were still doing that. And then we're going into Halo 2. It was like people were still playing Halo 1. Like it's like Halo 2 time. Like I think maybe that's also a byproduct of it being a different time. Like 10 years ago, there weren't as many games and options for people to play. So there are definitely more games now than there were 10 years ago.
Yeah, just accumulatively. But like if you look at like
And other
monthly
things
releases,
to do, like I mean, mobile phones and stuff. Like there's just more options for people. So it's like it's harder now to be a big thing in gaming than it was, I think, 10 years ago. like you had a better chance of being the next Halo, the next Zelda, or the next Diablo, or the next Dota, basically back then. Now it's like virtually impossible to like do that. Like
Bloodworth, do you believe Damiani's nonsense?
like Minecraft, like the last few years, like Minecraft was it. It was like Minecraft, and then before it was like WoW. Like name a game other than Angry Birds and Minecraft that have come out in like the last 3, 4, 5 years that have been like global phenomenons. Like when back 10 years ago, did like Halo.
Watch Dogs.
No, it's not. It sold a lot, but no one cares about it right now.
Biggest new IP launch of all time.
What do you do? That's like that's a headline for a week.
People are getting Watch
I don't
Dogs
give it.
tattoos.
No one cares about headlines. As long you want that series to be like actively playing it, be talking about it, like headlines all over like the big news sites for like months afterwards.
You want Reddit memes going? I guess.
I think memes is a good word. I think like you kind of want that. We're actually going to talk about memes later on. It's appropriate. But I think if you had a story when you strip all that stuff out and they're like, again, I'm just like, pretending that I work at Bungie, pretending I'm this guy. If this guy was actually like telling the truth, they're like, let's have this focused on being a shooter. Let's not try to, stop all the people that are shooter fans, with all of the story nonsense. Let's just take it away. When you take that away, all you have are the guns and the bosses and the numbers and your levels and your loot. And so that's all people were talking about.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like what is it, Tiny Wings with the bird that goes off the hills?
Love Tiny Wings.
Right, I know you're a fan. So you'll understand this, Kyle.
Okay.
So like the launch was like one of those hills. It was basically like if they had had more of a story, then they would have gotten more hype after their launch. People would have more stuff to talk about. It would have had more relevance.
Sure.
Other than just people bitching and moaning about how repetitive it was. It would have some other substance to help it go longer until Vault of Glass comes out and they have another chance to bounce off another hill, get some more air, and try to maintain relevance, which is typical to MMOs. We talked about that with 14 at a Just Played episode recently about how like every 2 months 14 has something going on.
A new hill for you to
just
coast
like
down,
some
yeah.
announcement, some reason, like come back to our website, subscribe to our newsletter. We will talk about stuff, and I think they would have had a little bit more air, a little bit more legs, had there been something else to talk about when this game launched. So that, like there's no memorable lines. Like Wizard Came from the Moon, they cut.
Yeah.
So like the game didn't even make fun of itself anymore. And it's like you listen to when your ships are loading and like people are talking. It's like what one word did anyone utter in any of those things that you remember at all for any reason?
Yeah.
Other than it being kind of cheesy and little over melodramatic.
Right,
But
there are no characters in that game whatsoever.
there
characters.
are no characters that I care about. No
Right.
characters that I would ever talk to someone about or put a poster of on my wall or. They all have masks. Like one thing that I didn't think I would find so damn funny is now because I'm forced to watch these cutscenes, even when I do story missions for like the 8th time, it's like gotta watch you discovering that door for the 8th time, and it's funny that like they'll cut to like I'll see the strange alien lady or the robot lady in the distance. It's like a close-up of your mask. He's just like, staring at stuff, and it's like, that's ridiculous. Like, why do that? Why even bother to have the shot of you looking and acknowledging that person was there? If I'm literally just staring at a mask and a hood, like what?
Because you got to show the armor that you worked so hard to unlock.
Well, I saw that when I walked up. It's like, why do I need to see that at the end? Like, that's your reaction. It's like it's everyone's reaction. It's the
Well, that
same
was
thing.
the kind of funny thing too. Of you go through the character customization. You spend all this time like tweaking your character. Like what you see wander around the town a little bit, and then back in the mask.
Back to work.
Back in the mask. Next story, another baby story. This is a baby story, let's be honest. The Pokemon trading card game online app has now launched on the iPad, meaning that anyone can go play for free the Pokemon trading card game on their iPads. Is this a big deal? Bloodworth.
I don't follow the trading card game. I don't know why. Why is it free?
It's free like Hearthstone is free. You can just play a trading card game on an app.
Oh, and then you pay for whatever packs or
So
something.
the funny thing is, I should probably explain that, yeah. The only way to spend money on this app is to go buy booster packs and decks in real life. You scan in a code, and then you get a booster pack in the game.
That's
Huh.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the only...
So
it doesn't
they give you
allow-
like a set of cards, and then to get more cards, you have to have the physical ones.
Or you can earn them by playing against other
Okay.
people or playing the challenges in the game. So it's not quite like Hearthstone. I think it could be making a lot more money than it is right now by allowing you in-app purchases, but I think they're a little nervous
Well, I
about
mean,
those.
it's interesting because like I don't know, I don't know what that group and that market is like right now. Like I don't know.
Well, it's huge if you look at like Hearthstone and the money it's making.
Well, I know that Hearthstone is huge, but I'm
Yeah.
saying like how many people are still like invested in like is there still that huge group of people playing the Pokemon card game?
I'm going to say it's one of the top 3 trading card games. You may correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm going to say it's still played.
Okay.
It's still consistently played. There's still tournaments, and being the best in the world at the Pokemon trading card game is still a big deal.
Do you think there's a large percentage of people that like Pokemon, the video game, that have never played the card game before?
Yeah.
That jump into the like, oh, finally, Pokemon on iPad, and then they get the card game and they're like, cards. Like, do you think
I think there are a lot
I
of
don't
people.
think there will
who-
be that.
are those
so much.
people's divided at all?
Yeah,
or-
I think there's actually a lot of people who get the cards and don't know what they do. I think there's a lot of people who, as kids, loved Pokemon and like never really learned the game. And this game plays itself. I mean,
Right.
it does do that. But Damiani, do you think this will launch? Do you think this app is enough to be successful?
I mean, I think it could have been. I just don't know how much. I mean, Nintendo obviously like messaged it. I saw like people. I saw ahead of time like, oh, it's coming out soon.
Right.
This doesn't seem to have like a lot of buzz. It didn't have a lot of
Right.
buzz building up to it, and there's like no push like now. Like it's out, but I've heard like nothing else about it compared to something like Hearthstone, which had a long lead time.
Yeah.
Like people like they had like the beta, get in, play this. They had a lot of like people trying it out. Like Nintendo didn't do anything with that with this trading card game.
Well, this actually existed for years on the PC.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that was I was gonna get to like it also existed before, and no one was really like talking about it then too
Because,
much.
to be honest, it's not great. The AI is horrible.
Oh, so it's bad.
I've
actually.
played it. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I played it. And AI is real bad. It will do stupid things that make no sense to do in the game. It'll throw energies on this one guy on its bench constantly, like more energies than it could ever use. Just imagine like going to a gas station and your car is full of gas, and then you just keep putting gas into it while your Pokemon is dying in front of you. Is basically what that is. It's an analogy I can come
See,
up with.
yeah, Hearthstone was on PC first. It was successful. Then it came, to iPad.
Yep.
So
You wanted that success on PC first.
I don't think this is going to translate into something big.
So I do know they have some plans for it going forward. They want it to be something more. They want to do like drafts with it, I think.
Giraffes?
Drafts, yeah. They got Keely on board. No, drafts.
Okay.
Where like you all get like a random set of cards and you make decks out of those. It's just hard in particular with that game to like draft a good deck. Because you have to evolve. Evolving is so dumb. But basically, my question is, Damiani, to correct you a little bit, Nintendo has nothing to do with this app. This is all the Pokemon Company. Yeah.
Well, then there's part of your problem.
Well,
Why is
it might be
Nintendo-
part of the problem, part of the solution. Nintendo is not willing to make any games free on iPad. And so Pokemon Company is allowed to do this because it's semi-autonomous. They're allowed to do what they want, which is really strange. My question to the panel, does Pokemon need Nintendo? Sick silence. I love that.
Probably not. Why don't we do this
Nintendo
game on the
owns
Wii U?
IP though. They
Yeah,
own
it's
IP.
real weird.
So isn't it like a hodgepodge of like they're technically a second-party developer where
Game
Nintendo
Freak.
owns the IP, and then isn't there someone else also involved who's like
So-
a third
Yeah,
party?
it's about Game
It's
Freak, yeah.
Game
But
Freak,
there's Game Freak-
the Pokemon Company International, and Nintendo all own Pokemon in weird ways. It's really strange.
It's because like Pokemon. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, whatever. The true answer here is like of all that crap. Yeah, like they do need Nintendo, and what they need to do if they really want like this to explode. It already sells a lot on handhelds, but they made a dedicated Pokemon game specifically for mobile phones, for iOS and Android, that only came out on those platforms.
What if they did?
This trading card game
no
thing
way.
is not the answer. I don't think it might be actively played by still. I think the reason it's so popular as it is because of how it's played with physical cards in places, and does it skew a little bit younger, or am I like wrong on that?
Let's say it skews to 10 to 12. It skews younger,
I
absolutely.
mean, I feel like every time I hear about Pokemon, it's like a physical, like you play at the physical cards more than you want to play it digitally. Like there's something about owning those cards specifically for that for Pokemon, the trading card game, that's a little bit different than something like Hearthstone where you can start it digitally. You don't need any like physical cards for that, or like it's more like Magic the Gathering, where that also isn't too terribly popular with the digital game, and it didn't take off, whereas Hearthstone did. I think
it's got like
it's got a
Magic has a yearly game you can
yeah,
download.
Yeah.
It does
It's,
okay.
it's decent, but it's not Hearthstone.
It's not
It's not
Hearthstone,
Hearthstone.
exactly, sure.
And I don't think Pokemon Trading Card Game is ever going to be Hearthstone levels. I think that's a losing battle for them. And directly to your question, I think on this thing, Nintendo should still have a either 3DS yearly release for a Pokemon game. I think instead of releasing 2 versions of an iOS Android, they should try making a specific mobile developed Pokemon game that only releases on iOS and Android. And just see how it does. Just one. See how it does. Because I think that is the game that a lot of people would buy on there, and they'd make a shit ton of money.
It's a big investment to say, well, let's just see how it does. That's a big thing.
Well, I think they need to see how it does. I'm not saying it's going to do bad. I think it'll do really extremely well.
I think it would make Nintendo furious if Pokemon went and did that.
This is the real issue here is that Nintendo doesn't like money. Because
Well, I think that's the thing is that
but they all
somehow there is a loophole to whether the Pokemon trading game app is considered a video game. I think that somehow Pokemon Company is not allowed to make video games. That's not their responsibility. But somehow this, it's part of the trading card game, so they get to.
Loophole's a good word. I bet it was exactly that.
That's kind of that impression to me.
To me, it's such a no-brainer. Like I've never played a Pokemon game ever. Like even there's some franchises that I claim to not have played, and I actually haven't picked a controller. I have never ever controlled a character moving through an environment in a Pokemon game in my life.
Wow.
But I would totally play Pokemon if it was on iPhone, because then I could play with my friends. I have friends that I know have iPhones, or even if I had a different device, that would be it. That would be the reason. I got to play this. I got to finally jump into this game that my friends have loved forever. It seems like such a no-brainer to me that there's got to be some ironclad company policy that's an absolute no, never.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not we'll wait to see how this thing does.
They've been addressing that for the past year or so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like
Non-starter.
Pokemon is the one to do. Other Nintendo's franchises don't need.
You need buttons, like a Mario game. Get out.
Yeah,
of here.
those games do not need to be on iOS. They don't need to be reimagined. I just feel like Pokemon is the one that is such a mobile-centric series. Nintendo's even said so much. That's why we don't make console ones. Because people like to play these on the go. Yeah. It just, especially in their home
turn-based.
and in their home market where
Turn-based
mobile
RPG,
gaming is so big. It's just do one. Just try one and see how much better it will do selling on.
If they did that, there'd be no reason to get whatever the new Nintendo handheld.
That's the thing. That's
the
main thing. It's that's their cash cow. That's their 3DS seller right there.
Yeah.
That's why after 3DS is done, they don't, no more Nintendo handheld systems. They just gotta make a phone.
Nintendo phone?
No, they're not gonna make a phone.
A Nintendo app on a phone where you can get their software on there. Partner up with Apple or something.
No, there's no money in that. That's
Apple
so
Nintendo
ridiculous.
phone?
I really there'd be a lot of money for one independent developer, but Nintendo-wise, that's not worth the investment. They don't care about that amount of money.
They don't care about that amount of money?
That amount of money is just no, not worth it. We got to sell our new 3DS.
I don't know. Well, I think when are we going to see the sales of the new 3DS?
Oh,
the Japanese sales?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even think it's even out at this point.
No, it's going to be a little while still.
Why? You think it's going to bomb?
I don't know. I just feel going forward, I don't think there's much they could do to make their handhelds, as they are dedicated gaming machines in Japan, any more appealing than what they're going to be. I feel like it's been just a little bit of a steady decline with that. It hasn't.
You're saying 3DS is pretty great. It's as great as you could ever ask it to be.
It's a good system. What more can you ask for? That and the Vita, but they're leading the sales over there, but they're not selling as well as previous generations of handhelds, dedicated handheld consoles. I think you have to adapt. You don't want to just keep going, and then you're gonna find out one day no one's buying your hardware and you're screwed. At some point you gotta as a business decision, maybe it's time to
they are adapting. We just haven't seen it yet.
I kind of feel
I think they need to be faster.
I kind of feel
That's true.
Pokemon Company is a little more savvy, and I kind of feel like they're just hey, this is a sinking ship. Let's make this iPad app free to play.
That's right.
I feel like Pokemon Company is a little smarter than Nintendo, and I kind of feel like they're planning for it.
I found this loophole in here.
Yeah.
We can just call it an app instead of a game.
Make it free to play. It's fine.
We don't ask our boss for permission. We just do it. And when it sells millions of dollars, we just show them how successful it is. They can't say no to that.
Iwata's not gonna like this.
Iwata has to understand. Please understand.
Okay, now you're talking my language. I like this. Yeah. And honestly, my theory is my theory is Pokemon Company, they see forward, and they see things that Nintendo doesn't want them to see, basically. And this may be evidence of that. We'll see how much effort is put into this app going forward.
It's just an old game. That's the bummer, is that it's a game that a lot of people have a lot of experience with. So this is something people are just going to lose their minds for now that it's on iPad.
Right.
How many new people are going to discover this?
I think a lot. I think it will make the top 10. I think it'll crack the top 10 downloaded apps on iPad. That's my guess.
Is that a guess or is that a bet?
That's a bet.
Did the Pokédex do that? when it came
Pokédex
out?
was really expensive. Good example.
No, wasn't
though.
it free at first? But all the like different regions cost money.
Right, yeah. So this was another thing Pokemon Company put up on the App Store was a Pokédex that gave you information only about the games that you play on your Nintendo devices. So it was like an encyclopedia of all the Pokemon. To get expansions to the encyclopedia to include all the Pokemon, you had to spend, I feel like, a lot of money. I feel like you could spend over $20 on this Pokemon encyclopedia.
Maybe. I
app.
remember it was like not going to be cheap. They
Yeah.
did that one, and then they had the random cartoon episode app.
Which still exists, actually.
Yeah, they just each week it's like a different schedule. You get to see random episodes from the different Pokemon series.
Yeah, and never the newest episode, but like you could see like 5 episodes from different seasons of the show. It's really weird.
Yeah, that's just like a, I don't even call it a half step measure. It's like less than that. It's
They
like,
were
that's
they were
not like good enough.
dipping their toe into the lake is what they were doing with that, I think. And this I think this Pokemon trading card game app that's a cannonball into the lake. Is my impression. It seems like no one else feels like it's a cannonball.
Well, again, it's an old game, so you don't.
So that's a foot.
It's like if your cousin Freddie did the cannonball in the lake, you'd watch. But if he did it like 20 times, like on the 20th time, you're like, okay, I got it. Thanks, Freddie. So yeah, it's just. I mean, you weren't excited when you were playing it. You know,
No,
like,
I
saw
don't
you-
like it. I don't like playing it.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Cannonball to the lake. That's more
Yeah,
like
it's
a-
absolutely
no.
Cousin Freddie. You're 100% right. It's like, yeah, good job, Freddie. We're doing cool stuff on water skis over here, Freddie. He's just like, look at this. Whoop. Yeah, that is kind of what it is. What?
There's just so much potential there for branching Pokemon out to other platforms. Do you remember the Google thing they did with the maps? You thought
Yes.
How insanely
That was
popular
shocking.
that was.
That was shocking what happened.
That's just like that.
So reiterate what happened to everyone who may not be familiar with that.
Like what? It wasn't April Fool's, right? It was
April Fool's.
Oh, it was the April Fool's one.
Yeah.
Okay, so this year April Fool's, they made a Pokemon trainer thing where they changed Google. They had on your Google Maps you can find individual Pokemon scattered around the real world map, and as you clicked on them, you caught them and you built up your Pokédex. And if you got all 100, it was 150, 151.
I think it was 151.
If you got all 151, they're like, you became a Pokemon Master. And I was like, okay, cool. But if you actually completed it, they sent you that cool like card.
Business card.
Google sent you a business card that said you were a Pokemon Master or Pokemon Trainer or something.
And that was official. That Pokemon Company
Yeah.
said partnered with Google to make this happen.
And people were like addicted. All I saw on Facebook and Twitter were people trying to figure out how to get all those.
How far did you get?
I only did like 40.
Okay.
And then I was like,
Wow.
all right, there's this is gonna be a congratulations at the end. But then when I saw those business cards, when I was like, oh man,
It
what?
was really cool. So like
What?
a real world location
What?
had a Pokemon in it that kind of
Right.
made sense, and it's just like you had to like scour the
Yeah,
earth.
like people on like Reddit were posting like locations and
Yeah.
stuff, and Gaff had its own thread. I was like, oh man, this is like,
This is huge.
and that's
Yeah.
that was just that.
And Nintendo didn't want that. Nintendo doesn't want us to do
I
things
was
like
like,
that.
oh no, why is Pokemon and Google together?
And Pokemon Company's like, you can't do anything about it.
Iwata's like, what is this?
This is out of your jurisdiction, Iwata.
And we're like behind him, like, please understand, look how popular it is. It's not on 3DS.
Yeah.
Because it just somehow like tarnishes the brand. It does something to the brand that they're like, there's no going back from that. You know, you can't.
Wait,
just-
but I mean, did Nintendo actively say they didn't like the Google thing?
No,
No,
they
we're
did not
just-
actively say
Yeah,
that.
like
So
I was wondering where this was coming from.
I think they didn't like it because they don't. Nintendo doesn't do that. Nintendo doesn't get that fun with its properties. Nintendo doesn't like lease out Mario and Samus to do things like that. Do you know
Oh yeah.
what? What you got?
NBA Street.
Nintendo doesn't let their characters go with other stuff. And I think I just played something called Hyrule Warriors.
That's a video game. This was Google. This was
Oh,
Partnering
yeah,
with
you don't
Google to
know?
be
There's
like-
I just you know what I just got shipped from GameStop.
what?
My Legend of Zelda Monopoly. What's up?
Touche, Damiani. Our next news story.
What's up? They also have a jigsaw puzzle.
Jigsaw puzzles don't count.
What about all the,
What's
what
gonna do
about
better?
all the
What's
hot,
gonna do better, that
Hot
jigsaw
Topic
puzzle?
T-shirts and
So
stuff?
wait,
Yeah.
did you order Pokemon Monopoly? Like you want to own that?
Pokemon Monopoly? No.
The Mario
Oh, okay.
Kart RC cars?
Oh, Legend of
Oh,
Zelda.
yeah, the Mario Kart RC cars. Do you remember back in the day? It's like before, maybe it was before I was born or something. I remember seeing like there was like a Mario ladder game where you took Mario and Luigi and you had like a ladder thing and you like hooked them on to it and it was a race where you had to like move it up and down this like plastic ladder. It looked like it was like rotating like a Ferris wheel, and you tried to make them like flip back and forth down to the bottom or something, and you won the race. And it had Mario and Luigi.
Did you play it? Or
Yes,
you
I
only-
did. Someone had it, and I was like, "What is this?"
I had some of the Happy Meal toys too.
Yeah, they
And
had the
Nintendo
McDonald's,
cereal.
Super Mario Bros. 3 Happy Meal toys. You got the Mario Kart toys from McDonald's.
Here's the thing: you're all talking about merchandise. You're talking about things you can
What do
spend
you
money
think
on.
of-
This cool Google thing, there was no money to be made.
But that's
Google
what the
lost
advertising.
Google lost money sending out these cards.
Oh,
Like
Really?
that's why this partnership was that cool.
they lost
That's why
money
it was
printing out
interesting.
some cards.
I'm pretty sure they got a lot of traffic out of that.
The ad revenue they got.
This jaded panel. Let's talk about themes. Let's talk about themes in your system UI because the
yeah.
3DS
What
is
happened to
getting
that?
themes. And Vita's getting themes. The PS4 is getting themes. I want to talk about
Wait.
themes.
Oh, PS4 is getting themes. Cool.
Yeah. They've
Finally.
announced. Yeah, that
Wait,
the PS4 will
new
have some
3DS
themes.
is getting themes, right? Not our current 3DSs.
That's a good question. I think
Pretty
it
sure
is.
it's
At
the
least it's
new-
only advertised for the new 3DS right now.
Oh.
I think. Shoot, but why would the new 3DS? Oh, because it is a little beefier processing one. Okay.
They probably have some different things in there.
Sure. Anyway, let's talk about themes.
Okay.
So, like, do y'all like themes?
Sure.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, it's fun. It's like putting something on your desk. You know, it's like you don't want to work in an office where there's nothing around you. Like, put up a picture of
Kyle.
something. You know, to have a little visual reminder of like, oh yeah, there's that. Put a little action figure there.
What specifically? Which theme have you ever used that you liked?
My theme that I love is I had South Park on my 360, and they kept changing the HUD, but I still kept the theme. And I like that they didn't erase it. So they added one where they had like a little horizon marker, and it cut all the kids' heads off right at like the eye level, so they were all like kind of peeking over the side. It was great. It clearly like was not built for that background, but and it was fun. You like go to the options menu, and it's like the playground, and there's like Wendy, and she's ice skating. I don't know. It definitely has put a smile on my face for like no reason whatsoever, just going through the menu of my 360.
Yeah, I went through quite a few different PS3 themes. You know.
What was your favorite theme on the PS3?
I know one of the ones that I liked was I think Infamous 2, because the artwork in the background would change, like different.
It was a
times.
dynamic theme.
Yeah. And then
Wait,
you know,
what is
one of the things I like about PS3 themes too is that like they would change the icons. So like you know, you would have like I would have the airbrush icons for a while, and
So you like
but
it as
the
like
thing
a.
that's annoying is that you know because of work I'd have to like always switch resolutions and things like that, and then it would reset all the themes when you do that.
But you like them as sort of like a way to just make it personal. Like this
Yeah.
is Bloodworth's PS3. Is that the idea?
Yeah, I mean it's just personalization. Yeah, it's
Uh,
what you like. If it doesn't look as boring as what's initially on there.
Boring.
Do you have a wallpaper on your PC?
Yeah, I was
Kyle?
about to ask. What do you, this is just like.
No, at
changing
work
your-
I don't even. You're right. I'm a total bore. If you look at my iPhone wallpaper, it's totally boring. If you look at my computer wallpaper,
Only the audience could see what I'm staring at right now.
what are you staring at?
Oh, you
yeah.
giant spaceship.
Michael Damiani is staring at the failed backdrop of Final Bossman, which was something interesting. I thought a spaceship, and then I just
Yeah.
covered it up with a curtain.
Wouldn't that be cool if there's a NASA spaceship on your PS4, you know, in the background? Like,
So I'll tell you one theme that I actually did really like a lot on the PS3. It was Africa. And it was just a huge African plane and some zebras, and their tails would move. It was a dynamic theme. But every time I turned on my PS3, it was like this sweet window into Africa. I really loved that. And so, yeah, I think themes are exciting. I think it's exciting to customize your console's UI. Which was your favorite, Damiani? You didn't tell us what your favorite theme ever was.
Probably the Valkyria Chronicles one, because it changed
Yeah.
all the icons into like Valkyria themed stuff. That was pretty cool. I also like the ones you had to earn by like beating games.
Yeah.
That was like
What theme have you ever earned?
all the Square Enix games had that. Like
Cool.
Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, Final Fantasy 13 did.
13,
actually, yeah.
13 2. I don't know if Lightning Returns did, probably did, but I didn't play through that game. But like, yeah, the Kingdom Hearts HD, like that had them too for each of the games. So I was like, ooh.
And
it's
I
pretty
like
cool.
just grabbing a screenshot, like you get a nice screenshot in Gran Turismo and just stick it on the back as wallpaper or whatever.
Oh yeah.
and I think it's also like when Google changes their logo. It's like, oh, clever little design thing there. Like way to accommodate that space. You had limitations. You had to include all of the letters, and you know, it's like, where's the other G? Oh, there it is. You know, so you have to. It has to fit this screen. These buttons have to be here. So it's funny. It's fun to see, you know, people use clever stuff. like something like Despicable Me, where it has like those little yellow dudes. Like you could have a field day with like all the different things you could do with them. Like you're saying, like if you could do simple animation or something, or like
Yeah.
one of the guys looking around, or
Adds life to a console, basically.
yeah.
Yeah.
And is fun, and you can credit the people that made even that. It wasn't like a byproduct of the game. Like there was a whole separate team that just made those. And
Well, the one thing
Good job
about
to them.
I mean, it's not exactly anything to do with themes, but I've always thought it was weird that that light that's on the top of the PS4 that goes down the length of the console, like they show it off. They always show it as blue, but it only shines blue when you're booting it up.
And then
Like,
it's white, right? Then it turns
yeah,
white.
it's just white. I'm like, I'd rather just have it blue. I can't customize that. I can't change the lights that show on that bar, even though it can probably do a
like
lot of other
customization,
lights.
yeah.
I think that's a very, very fair want. I really like that. It's on in your living room. Let's turn it blue already.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very funny. I'm sure like there was some design aspect of just like this means that it's powered on, this means it's powering up, and then just somebody
Exactly.
thought that through, but didn't think of like this is on in someone's living room. What color would they probably want? Blue. The advertising team knew that it looks best with blue.
Right.
Why didn't they talk to each other? So cool. I'm glad we're all pro themes. I think it's cool to add themes to your console always. Make it a priority. Xbox One doesn't have a lot of unused space. It's a very good UI. I don't know if themes would really change.
I don't
how
know. They call it a
appealing
very good UI, but okay.
It was really confusing when it first came out. I didn't know what was where, or what was happening. Like,
There's a lot of stuff like go into this menu and then you can go into that menu and it's It's
I
kind
think
of
the
all
nice
over
part
place.
is you can prioritize it like you would with your phone. You could put whatever you want closest or furthest away. You know what I mean? With the pins.
a little bit.
What do you want? What do you want the Xbox One UI? How do you want it to change?
I don't know. I just want it to make a little bit of sense. I want things like friends and achievements to not take 5 seconds to load up. So.
Wait, Friends takes 5 seconds to load up? What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
well, you go to your friends list and it's like it spins the wheel for a while and like oh now there's everybody.
Those HD avatars, man.
They don't have avatars.
Yeah, you do. You have avatars.
No, they got rid of the avatars.
Well, I don't mean like the people.
Right.
I mean, your cool icons. The owl.
They're not HD when you see them in the friends list.
Yeah, they're like vectors, so you can zoom in forever. So I guess not. But is that why it takes a circle to load it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Grilling Bloodworth this week.
It's just one of the things that, when I was playing Forza, it was like, all right, let's see if anyone else playing Forza. It was like, oh yeah, I gotta open the whole app. It's not just an overlay like it was on the 360.
Gotcha. Improve that. Get on it, Xbox team. I'm being facetious. I don't know.
They have been
good
improving that.
brainstorming session, everybody.
We did. I like when we can just talk about things we like. I'm glad we just got to talk about themes for a while. That was fun.
We're a regular think tank up in here.
Yeah, we're a regular think tank. Hideki Kamiya, producer of Bayonetta 2, big at Platinum. I don't know what his total role at Platinum is, but
He makes games.
Yeah, he makes games. He tweeted out the story of Bayonetta 2's development, which I thought was really interesting. This was translated by Nintendo Everything nicely. Basically, I should read the whole thing. It's a cool little story. Maybe I should read the whole story of his tweets.
Yeah,
the way they're
it's
translated.
tweeted out. I hope it's not that long.
It's not that long. Well, no, I mean, it's a series of tweets.
Right, but even so.
Even so, you can't say that much on Twitter. All right, here's straight from the horse's mouth, from Kamiya's mouth.
You just call Kamiya a horse?
I did not mean to. Please do not. If he's a horse, he's a stallion. He's a sick horse. You know what I
Alright.
mean? He's a war horse. I think I've discussed this many times before, but here goes. First of all, we, meaning Platinum Games, are developers and receive support from publishers by making games that they request or suggest. As for Bayonetta, we developed the game after signing a deal with Sega. Later, it was decided to also develop the sequel, so we started working on Bayonetta 2, of course. Of course, I just added, shouldn't do that. When development had progressed to a certain degree, in Sega's situation, it turned into, quote, "This isn't a good plan," so development halted temporarily. Without funding, we didn't have the possibility to continue development, but we wanted to get this partially developed Bayonetta 2 available to the public one way or another. So we offered it to various publishers, but as it is a big title, we couldn't find a partner company. Finally, Bayonetta 2 was about to get terminated completely. When? ... Yeah, there's an ellipsis there. Nintendo came in and lent a hand, and we were able to restart development we so desired. Finally, the game was released last week, so in 5 years, we were able to make Bayonetta 2 available to the public. Knowing those circumstances, if someone is still angry for heading towards Nintendo, I wonder what's the reason for that. Wouldn't you tell me in a way that is easy to understand? As I've said earlier, if you want Bayonetta 2 on PS4 or Xbox One, how about trying to ask Nintendo? If Nintendo doesn't say yes, it's not going to happen. While you're at it, try asking for Mario and Zelda 2. End tweets.
You burn.
You burnt. Like, that is all we need to hear about that situation. Like, that is the case closed, book closed. I don't think anyone has to talk about Bayonetta 2 only being on Wii U anymore. Is that true? Damiani shakes his head.
This was all known.
Yeah, this was all
And
known.
even this being said again, there's still going to be port beggars. It's never going to end.
Why?
It's never going to end because people are just too upset that it's on Wii U. They're just too irrational.
Damiani,
We're talking about-
you've been playing this game on Wii U. Are you upset that it's on Wii U?
No, but there are people who do not have a Wii U and will not buy a Wii U.
People that
who
will not buy a second Wii U that
yeah.
only plays Japanese games.
This
coming to the
doesn't
US.
happen. And like people are just going to keep, despite people not fully understanding the situation, they're going to keep thinking, oh, at some point it's going to come to other platforms. It just has to. When it sells terrible on Wii U, like a few years from now, it's going to come out on Xbox One and PS4, and I'm going to get it. They don't grasp. They don't grasp that
grasp
Nintendo
how that works, right?
funded it, and
Right.
Nintendo has the final say. Now,
Well,
Nintendo.
it's not even if they have a final say. Like they would be the one that would release it. They're the one that has the financial risk. There's not like, oh, Platinum didn't sell well enough. Platinum got their money. They
No, I'm
made
talking
the
about,
game.
yeah, no, I'm talking about like Nintendo though.
Nintendo's not going to sell it on another platform.
They're
no
not going
matter
to put
what.
it on iPad for free. Not
No, no,
Nintendo.
no. Well, here we go again.
Yeah.
Nintendo liked money. After a year or two of it like being a Nintendo Wii U exclusive, it sold all it's going to sell on Wii U. Put it on Xbox One, PS4, but you're going to get all that money. Be like, here you go, guys. You can have your little game on your systems, but we're getting all that money, Microsoft and Sony. You have to pay us for that. And then they get the money, and then everyone gets the games, and then Bayonetta is popular again. And then when Bayonetta 3 comes around, like, we're going to make it exclusive again on Wii U. Maybe now you'll come play it.
No, I don't think so, because then people would say, oh, I'll get it on PS4 in a year.
I know. The real answer here is like, does Nintendo want more money?
So
and
that's
they funded it. They put their investment in. Platinum got their money. They're good.
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo, it's like, do we sell enough to like recoup our costs for this? If not, it's like, well, no one's going to be buying this game anymore on Wii U. No one's buying Wii U's for it. It's like run its course. Put it on the other systems and just make those guys pay you the money.
They're never going to do that.
Get
Yeah,
that money.
because
Get
I
paid.
I think the way that Nintendo
Get
is,
paid.
they're a hardware company. They have to add value to their hardware.
They already did.
No.
It's after a year and a half from now, like the amount of copies of Bayonetta 2 selling on Wii U is going to be so minuscule. They're not getting anything from it anymore.
I guess
They can't argue like you got to get a Wii U for this. I mean, they get to say that, but no one's going to give a shit at that point.
But
That's a
it
really
still
good
doesn't
point.
matter. Like Microsoft doesn't even put Forza games on the PC. I mean, that should be a no-brainer.
They're all crazy.
Sure.
They are all crazy.
Do you
all of
honestly
them are
think they're
crazy.
all crazy?
They're all crazy.
You would use the word crazy. You think all of those people who are making money right now are not doing the right
So
thing.
you think Uncharted 3 right now should come on Xbox One?
After a certain point,
That's
it'd be
insane.
amazing.
No, because you want
More
to
money.
have you want to have this game associated with your brand, and that value is worth more than the dollars that they could make by spreading it out across other brands. Yeah.
Minecraft,
What about Minecraft?
all platforms make so much money.
How? Yes, it does.
But
makes
Minecraft, but
a
they're
lot
not.
of money
Not
on it.
anymore.
Mojang is not. They were never a hardware company though, so I'll concede that. Yes,
Right.
these companies are all making hardware. I'm trolling a bit.
Yeah.
These companies make hardware. They need to protect their hardware and stuff. But in my world, where I don't give a shit about like the consoles and have no loyalty to them,
Yeah.
all these games come out on all the platforms, and I'm happy.
Yeah.
But we're not going to get a Minecraft 2 anytime soon.
Oh, of course not.
Whereas like you will get,
If you do, it's
possibly
not
a
gonna be,
Bayonetta 3. So there is a further investment to look in as far as like putting it out on everything.
Man, I just want to see. Come on, Nintendo just needs to fund Shenmue 3 on Wii U. Test the faith.
Test the faith.
Test
of
the
what?
faith of those Sega fans.
Oh, I see.
I just want to see. I want to see the reaction to that. It's like Nintendo's funding that game you've been asking for forever. It's happening, but you got to get a Wii U for it. I can't do that. I can't have a Wii U.
I don't
I
know
only
if this
played
is-
it on Sega platform.
I don't know if this is sacrilege, but isn't Yakuza just Shenmue with a different story?
Ouch.
Ooh, I
Yes.
don't know.
That's sacrilege. You did it. You did it. That was sacrilege.
I mean, I feel like
Have
Sega's
to
still
call it,
making
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll comment on that one. I want to get the invoke the ire of the.
I
fan
would
base.
say that Shenmue is boring and stupid, and Yakuza
Ooh.
is interesting and cool.
Wow.
So that's probably the big difference between the two series.
You know what Shenmue had?
What?
More buzz than Destiny ever did.
Whoa! Not even true. What
Remember
do you
when he
think?
came out? Dude, Shenmue was everywhere in every
had a lot of
publication. It was like, this is the biggest deal in gaming right now.
Well,
like,
to be honest, it was.
Shenmue.
That budget at
Yes.
the time was.
Everyone was like,
ridiculous.
this is it. This is like the pinnacle of gaming stuff here. Like, this is the next chapter of video games. You don't have a Dreamcast, you don't buy this, like, you're a nobody.
And we were all like, I'll wait for it to go on my PS2.
And I'm
Yeah.
like on my like Nintendo systems, like, what is this crappy Shenmue stuff?
Yeah.
I want to go back to playing Mario and Zelda now. You can have your stupid Shenmue. It'll come out on N64 someday.
Shenmue isn't stupid and boring. I think that it would have a hard time finding a market today, though. Bayonetta 2, I think that market is clear. I think that I think it's an immediately appealing game.
You saw the
That's,
Japanese
that's
sales.
not how the
You
sales
saw
of
the-
Bayonetta have
Japanese sales weren't that
Are
good.
they bad? The Japanese sales
Oh
are bad?
yeah, like even it sold like only 30-something thousand copies in its first like few days, and then this week combined, I think it's only just over 40. It only sold like 9,000 copies its second week, but its first full week after its release. And I think, was it the 360 version? We might have some corrections here, but I think the 360 version in Japan.
Of Bayonetta 1?
Yeah, I think that, or not 3. What was it? No, the Bayonetta 1 when it came out in Japan, like its first week of sales was like 160,000 or something. So it was
Whoa.
like way more. It was like more than like 5 times what the.
My word.
Yeah.
I see.
I don't think Bayonetta didn't come out at 360 in Japan. It just came out on PS3, right?
Got it.
I think.
Who knows?
I don't remember.
I don't remember. But whatever.
I think it might have.
If it did come on both platforms, even in Japan, it sold better. The first one sold better, way better than Bayonetta 2 has sold on
Ever
Wii U.
will. Like
Yeah.
at this point,
That-
instead of
that's
The
just
Wii U
okay.
back
hasn't
there.
sold
Yeah,
that well.
toss out all the
anyways, and then you're
numbers.
talking
All you
about
need to know is that
subset of
Bayonetta 2
players.
sold like way worse than Bayonetta 1 in Japan.
Yeah. And you know what's funny is I think that Nintendo might be fine with that right now, just to even have a game that sold 40,000 because of where the Wii U is at. I think it's almost a smart investment. I don't know how much. Obviously, none of us will never know how much money they spent into making Bayonetta 2 complete. I think it might be a smart call. I don't know. I would never use the word crazy, but I think it might be a smart call.
I'm trying to remember someone, our old friend Wario64 made a really good remark about Bayonetta 2. Like that one, the Twitter post that you just talked about from Kamiya, basically saying like publishers turned him down. Like, so that was like the bolded part was like, oh look, a bunch of publishers turned him down. And I think Wario64's like first reply quip was like, that's funny, so are gamers. They're turning down Bayonetta 2.
Ouch.
Burn.
Yeah, that's a burn.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
I feel like Nintendo has more to gain from 40,000 than EA does from 80,000 is what I mean. If that makes any sense. Or Sega in this case.
Shenmue 3.
Okay. So that's it for our news. That's all our baby news this week. We'll end on Shenmue 3, which I think will never happen.
Probably not.
I think that will never happen in our lifetimes.
Shenmue 3?
Yeah.
Final bets.
Final bets. Let's move on to our final bets.
Every final bets.
Yeah, you're right. Hubert'd be happy with a Shenmue HD, is the thing. He'd be fine with that. Any game with
That's
Shenmue.
Well,
That's
I'll be
what's gonna
fine with getting
happen.
to the cliffhanger again? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Bayonetta 1 came out on Wii U as part of the deal, so
Yeah.
Nintendo's just going to fund Shenmue 3, and we're going to get Shenmue 1 and 2 HD on Wii U too.
Sure.
Makes sense.
It doesn't make that much sense.
Makes perfect sense.
Okay, it does. I mean, Nintendo's clearly like investing in other Japanese companies that are making cool games, and I appreciate that,
Yeah.
even if they're probably losing money through the process. I mean, they're probably surely losing money. If Bayonetta sells that poorly in the U.S., that's going to be like a loss, which is crazy. But I think you have to take losses to invest in your hardware. We already moved on. We're closing it. We got to talk about bets. We got a new bet this week.
Okay.
Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo 3DS hits stores on the day this podcast comes out on Friday. How many yeahs will Friday's Smash Bros. Miiverse post get?
Man.
I need some context here. How's it?
Yeahs are like
Like a
likes.
thumb up?
Yeah. You just say yeah to a post on Miiverse.
I haven't been paying attention.
And Sakurai has been doing daily, every weekday, gives a post to say, hey, here's something new that's going to be in the game, and shows you an image, sometimes two, and a description for each. How many yeahs
What's like the most Yaz you've ever seen? Like,
Yeah, I
that's-
mean, do you have
that's
any,
a lot of
do you have any
Yaz.
context of how they've been doing?
You can do 5-digit Yaz.
Whoa.
Yeah, it gets that crazy. Me versus. I think I'm first or last. I think that's on me to pick this week. I'll go first since everybody seems pretty disgruntled about this one. I'm going to say there will be 7,524 Yaz on Friday's post. Damiani.
Oh no.
It's time.
It's time.
7,800.
Whoa.
A clean 7.8. Daniel Bloodworth.
I like to go last this time. So. I'm really going to get it wrong now.
You should just do one. Or 10,000. We'll see what Blood does. Blood, what are you doing? He's thinking hard about this, everyone.
I'll do 5,000.
He does 5,000 Yaz. Which leads us to Brandon Jones,
I'll do 7,000.
who just does a clean 7,000.
So I've got the low end.
Okay, so I gotta lock those in. Okay, I forgot to lock in last week's bets. So, of course, we spent all of last weekend with our proton packs trying to find the bets and shoot them
Didn't
into our
have time
bet
for
traps.
that, no.
We did. That is what we did last weekend. Somebody called us, said, like, who are you going to call? Oh, the Bet Busters. And so they called us. We got in our cool car that was actually a converted old ambulance. And we found all the bets, and we trapped them in our bet traps.
Good job, Kyle.
Thank you. Let's talk about last
As
week's bet.
editor-in-chief, I would have liked if you let me know about that next time.
I never plan on not locking in the bets. It's a really hard thing to remember.
Expensive trip. Really try to keep them locked in.
Yeah, I'll try to remember in the future. I did this week, which is good. Last week's bet was a fun one. We're talking about the reviews for Shadows of Mordor, Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings, Shadow of Mordor?
No,
Middle
there's
Earth.
no-
Shadow
Middle
of
Earth,
Mordor.
Shadow of Mordor. Yeah. Looking at the 5 most recent reviews on Game Rankings, looking through those reviews, searching for the word Jackson. How many times would we see the word Jackson? The 5 most recent reviews came from Metro's Game Central, Bio Gamer Girl, PSX Extreme, Giant Bomb, and US Gamer. The people who mentioned the word Jackson, Bio Gamer Girl, and Giant Bomb. 2 Jacksons out of 5. I bet 1, Brandon Jones bet 3. This means we must have our first ever GT time tiebreaker. So I struggle with this, about coming up with a tiebreaker that works as a podcast. And what we're doing is a stupid improv game.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
No, it's fair because I'm not good at it. We called it Thunderdome. I'm sure it goes by lots of other names. Damiani and Bloodworth will give us categories. They'll say
Right.
candy bars.
Okay.
And so if they say candy bars, you say Twix, I say Snickers, and we have to go back and forth at each
God.
other. You have to stare at each other the whole time. If you slip up, they have
hope
to
it's
yell at
candy
us.
bars.
Yeah. So come up with any categories. The broader it
it's
is.
gonna be like Japanese RPGs.
No. Yeah, the broader your category is, the more fun the game is. Basically, it's not about I gotta
Damiani's
think
not
of,
about fun. That's not what's going to be in Damiani's mind right now. Damiani's version of
I have
fun
the
is a whole
perfect troll
different,
right
dark,
now.
weird, twisted kind of thing that
Yeah.
you don't want to mess
I have
with.
the
You don't want him to
perfect
define that.
troll.
Yeah. So you could do movies from the '70s, but it's more fun to do movies.
I
You
would
know what I
rather
mean?
give you this win than hear whatever the hell Damiani's going to suggest.
We'll do best of 3.
God. Okay.
So
No.
Bloodworth-
We'll just do it.
since
All or
you-
nothing.
No.
All
It's
the
gotta be.
Warhawks right now.
All right, we'll do all the Werehogs. Blood as points leader, you get to do it. So Brandon, you just knocked Damiani out of ever suggesting a suggestion.
Thank God.
Okay. So Blood, give us a category. Since I'm second place, I will go first, since I have to defend it, basically. And then Brandon, we'll just go back and forth. If you pause for too long, and I guess that'll be up to Blood and Damiani to say,
Okay.
Okay, so let's do it. Here we go. Thunderdome, tiebreaker. Blood,
Wait, what if you say something that's not correct?
you have to call us out.
Okay.
Okay. And
And-
that would be a loss.
Okay.
All right.
Insects. Is that it? Is that
That's a
count?
loss. I was gonna say bugs. Bugs was the word that almost came out. Oh God.
It wasn't
And
even
then I
a
didn't
game
do
then.
it, and then
That's
I lost.
hilarious.
If you start to say bugs and then don't say bugs, that's a loss.
Have you seen Four Rooms? I know you haven't seen any movie yet.
No, what is 4 rooms?
Four Rooms is a film directed by 4 different directors, and the very last one, it's Quentin Tarantino trying to get Tim Roth to chop off his friend's finger if he can't light his lighter like 5 times in a row. And they talk about it for like 30 minutes, and then he finally goes to do it, and he doesn't do it on the first try, and Tim Roth just chops, grabs the money, and leaves. I'm totally spoiling the end of the film. I apologize.
That is exactly what just
That's
happened.
what just happened. For number 3. I'm
Insects.
at number 3 now.
Bugs. Bugs is a type of insect. No, it isn't, you idiot. Oh my gosh.
You just did this to
I
yourself.
told you I'm not good at it. I told you I'm not good at that
And when
game.
this episode goes up tomorrow, you can watch it again.
I'm not going
You can
to.
watch
Nope.
you dig your own
Ugh.
grave, and then belly flop right into it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you just watched Brandon Jones earn his 3rd
I almost
point.
gave it to you.
Yeah. So that's 3 for Brandon Jones. I do not move forward. I'm stuck at 6. Just 1 behind Damiani at 7. Bloodworth still king of the mountain at 10 points. Brandon Jones, you have earned the right to close us out and to plug a video.
Tomorrow I'm shooting the new episode of Trailer Academy, which will happen sometime
Oh, right,
next
yeah.
week or the week after.
So classic Jones shows are coming
So
back.
yeah, new Jones shows are coming back from
Cool.
Going Dark. So check those out, and you can follow us all on Twitter. You can see our names meow. Thank you, Kyle, for doing a fabulous job hosting the show. I don't get to do this very often. So
True, yeah.
It's like an Oscar speech. I'm stretching out as long as I can. And follow us on Twitch. Watch our streams every day at 6 p.m. And come back to GT. Watch more videos. Thanks, guys. I love
Mr. Damiani, what is in your mug?
Nava's business card?
Look at that.
Okay.
The Metal Gear Rising specific business card to celebrate the announcement of Metal Gear Rising 2.
We can't use this music.
It's hilarious.
Hey, yeah, it's game music.
I just want to say for the record, I am really disappointed how long it took you to cue that song up. I would expect you to have like
Look
a
at that
button
thing.
or
It's like
something on
deadly.
you.
The deadliest business card
That
ever.
is a scary
Well,
business
no,
card.
it's-
Whose name is it? Who's
Still.
on there?
That's Inaba.
Okay. Who is Inaba? Is that the director of that game?
Yes, that's right.
Whoa.
Wow.
You just started a whole different thing.
We had such good momentum, the music was flowing, and then just silence when I said, who is
Double-sided.
Inaba?
Platinum. Look at that.
That's pretty cool. So it's a razor
pretty
because the
legit.
game's about cutting.
It's pretty legit.
Yeah.
I got this. I got this card when I talked to them
See it though?
at the at PAX 2012, I believe. maybe?
Okay, it is a real business card. At first, I didn't see any kind of like
That's-
actual
This
business.
was an
in-
infamous interview
Yeah.
that I did where they basically like trash talk PlayStation All Stars.
Nice.
Remember
really?
that
No.
interview where they were like unhappy about the Raiden leak?
Cool.
And then they said like, yeah, we're not so sure about PlayStation All Stars.
They were right. They were absolutely right all along.
Platinum knows their shit.
True.
They knew All Stars was garbage.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Bye, everybody.